Okay, hello. So this is my first time doing a live stream on the keto diet and the carnivore diet. Um, and a lot of people have questions. And so I figured why not just offer a place where people can ask questions and I can share my journey and what I've learned and what I'm doing and what I know about this. I watch a lot of doctors and um, keto experts, carnivore experts on YouTube and read articles. And I've been studying nutrition for about 26 years. I have a master's of science in health promotion. So this is where I started my career and have been working in the field of health and wellness. I'm a healer now, energy healer and hypnotherapist, but my background is in health and nutrition and exercise physiology and things like that. So this is a passion of mine and I study it for many hours a day because this new information that's out nowadays is so fascinating to me. And I started on the keto diet in April this year. So I did that for 5 months. And then I started on the carnivore diet on September 1st. So what's today? The 29th. It's been 29 days. And I love it so much. And I feel so great. I think I probably feel better than I've ever felt in my life. So that was on the keto diet and now on carnivore. I have felt the best I've ever felt in my life. And I would say that after going carnivore, I'm feeling even way better than when I was doing keto. So I'm so pleased. And, if anybody has any questions, I'm still waiting for people to join because I didn't announce this really much. And I don't know if anybody is going to join the video, the live stream to ask any questions. So let's just see what happens. And I don't know how many people who watch my channel are actually interested in this topic because this is not, I started my channel talking about some health, but spirituality and some, lots of topics within spirituality. And then I've started to add in some of my, these videos about the keto diet and now the carnivore diet. And I'm going to be doing videos with people, interviews with people in the field of nutrition. And I'm actually going to be doing one on Monday, which is tomorrow, but it's not going to be live. I'll upload it after we're finished. And so I am going to be interviewing some different people who have a variety of things to say on this topic, not just keto, not just carnivore, but general nutrition information. Yeah, so somebody's asking a question, no vegetables, no carbs. So I'm going to start with the keto diet and then talk about the carnivore, unless you want to tell me which one you're asking about. Because on keto, yes, you eat vegetables, very few carbs. You keep your carbs at 5% or less of your calories. So what you're trying to do is count your carbs every day and not go over 20 grams. So 20 grams of carbs or less per day on the keto diet. The whole purpose of going on the ketogenic diet is to cause your body to be fat adapted or burning fat for fuel. So the way that it works, if you're interested in starting the keto diet, is some people like to track their macros. Macros are fats, proteins, and carbs. They use an app on their phone, either called Chronometer, Chronometer. I call it Chronometer, but I heard somebody say chronometer the other day, so I have no idea if it's Chronometer or chronometer, but that's how you spell it. Or Carb Manager is another one. So anyway, go on your phone, download an app to track your macros, put in that you're doing keto. This way you can track what you're doing in the beginning just to see how you should be eating. So you should be doing 80% fat, 15% protein, and 5% carbs. And you would input your food that you eat and it'll tell you your percentages. Don't worry about calories. Calories in, calories out is not a real thing. It's not science and it doesn't work. The reason you want to have such low carbs is because carbs will raise your insulin. If you have insulin in your blood, in your body, you are preventing your body from burning fat. So what's happening is if you're eating food, a combination of any kind of food, your pancreas is gonna secrete insulin. Insulin is the whole purpose of insulin is to bring your blood sugar down, to regulate your blood sugar. Now, what happens is because in the modern day and age, we have food accessible to us all the time, and we eat a lot of carbs and sugars. And so, with this constant eating and not a lot of time in between, the body is constantly burning glucose, that's blood sugar, because of the carbs in the food. So, we're constantly secreting insulin to lower that blood sugar, to regulate the body, to bring it into homeostasis. But what's happening is because of the massive influx of carbs, which our bodies really aren't designed to have. If we think about our ancestral nutrition, I'll talk about that later, but just think about what they ate, hunters and gatherers. Our bodies were designed and evolved to eat mostly an animal-based diet with some added plants because when available in season locally, if we could find them. Okay, so not all people around the world eat plants in their diet through history, and even some still today don't. So getting back to the insulin issue, it's that when you're constantly bombarding your body with this glucose or fructose, either kind of sugar, any kind of sugar, lactose even. Lactose is in dairy products, fructose is in fruit, glucose is in sugar and carbs. Cane sugar has a combination of fructose and glucose. Anyway, when you're introducing sugars into the body and the body is constantly secreting insulin, what happens is we can develop insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is one of the biggest problems with all health problems. Insulin is probably the main contributing factor to almost all disease and conditions. Insulin resistance means that keep eating the different carbs and sugars and food, and you become insulin resistant because insulin keeps on trying to lower your blood sugar, but eventually it gets fatigued. If we abuse any organ or any body part, it wears out and it does get fatigued. So basically, insulin is having less of an effect, so you become insulin resistant. When you lower the carbs on a ketogenic diet by starting, like let's say you're starting day one, and you're consistent and you're doing 20 grams of carbs or less per day, it's going to take your body probably like a month to 3 months to actually regulate become insulin sensitive again. And it might take a year or two for some people. Now, insulin resistance develops into type 2 diabetes. So you start out as insulin resistance and it leads to prediabetes. That is a pre-diabetic state, actually, and then you get diabetes. And so it can take a while for the body to heal insulin resistance once you've started on the ketogenic diet. Give yourself time, and once you have been doing the keto diet for 3 weeks or longer, or 6 weeks, it depends on your body, you're going to become fat adapted or keto adapted. What this means is that your body has shifted from burning glucose as your fuel to ketone bodies. Ketone bodies are secreted by the body when you're actually burning fat and as your main source of fuel, and then you're actually burning those ketone bodies for energy. The brain loves to run on ketones, and you will not crash, and you don't need carbs. There's no essential carbohydrate. There are essential fats, essential amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. So essential fatty acids. There's no essential carb. You can literally live on fat and protein and get all of your nutrients, which is what people do on the carnivore diet. So anyway, going back to your question, no vegetables and no carbs. So I think I answered that. So on the keto diet, people can eat a lot of vegetables. You don't, there are two camps. One group opinions, it's not even like divided into groups, but there are a couple of opinions about counting carbs. Some people count their total carbs. So let's say you're eating salad and broccoli and asparagus and nuts and so you're going to enter those foods to get an idea of what you're eating, and read every label, because you're going to read fiber on that label. Even look it up for vegetables, for example, broccoli. All vegetables have fiber, right? So basically, you're going to look at the fiber grams and subtract those grams from your total carb. When you subtract fiber from carbs, you're going to get your net carbs per day. Some people count net carbs 20 grams or less. Some people count total carbs, so they include fiber in their carb count. You decide what works for you. I don't really have an opinion about that, because both are valid for different reasons. And when I was doing keto, I was subtracting fiber and keeping my carbs very low. And I was eating vegetables. I followed Dr. Berg when I was doing keto. I followed a lot of doctors, but Dr. Berg says eat 7 to 10 cups of vegetables a day. And you don't have to count leafy greens, because you're only counting non-vegetable carbs. So like I said, there's difference of opinions. Some people find that they're stalling and they're not losing weight, so they end up deciding just to count all carbs and then lowering even more. So whatever works for you. But basically, when you're eating vegetables, some people say you don't have to count those carbs, but you count carbs in nuts and cheese, because cheese has carbs, nuts have carbs, seeds. What else are you eating on keto that has carbs? Sometimes like even eggs, or might have avocado, which is a vegetable, but still, if you're squeezing lemon into your water using lemon juice, that's going to have some carbs. You're going to count, even like 2 or 3 carbs in the lemon. So you're going to add up everything throughout the day and keep it under 20, which is not that easy. Some people, after getting fat adapted and doing keto for quite a while, they realize that they can up their carbs to 30, 40, or 50, and that works for their body, either for maintenance or continued weight loss. So it's going to depend on your body. But you're going to want to give yourself enough time to get fat adapted. It might take weeks. You're still probably healing insulin resistance, because most people probably have that. And so once you're fat adapted, you're not going to be as hungry. So like you might start waking up in the morning and you're not hungry anymore. So a lot of people who do the keto diet end up doing intermittent fasting, where they're closing their window of eating to maybe an 8-hour window during the day, eating from like 11 to 7 every day, so that the rest of the 18 hours or 16 hours in that case would be fasted. When you're fasting, your body is producing more ketones and you're burning more fat. So you want to shorten your eating window so that you have more hours throughout the day where you're actually burning the fat, and then you're not raising insulin for as much of the time. The whole purpose of shortening a window of eating is to lower your insulin levels even more. So these are the ways that people are losing weight and healing type 2 diabetes and all kinds of things on keto. Arthritis, autoimmune diseases and disorders, mood disorders, everything and you could ever imagine, people are healing. But then if people aren't seeing enough results after a while, a lot of them switch over to carnivore, which is what I did. And on carnivore, you're eating no plants. So you're just eating animal foods like meat, any kind of meat, beef, lamb, chicken. I'm not a fan of chicken because it just doesn't appeal to me anymore, and it doesn't have enough fat. It doesn't have a good omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acid ratio, and you really don't want to overdo it on the omega-6, and you want to bring in the omega-3 fatty acids because that's helping your brain and it's providing the proper fat that we need to balance our hormones and things like that. So anyway, just chicken doesn't appeal to me, but also it's not that good on a carnivore diet because you really want fatty cuts of meat, beef, and you want to be eating organ meats to get your vitamins, your A, D, K, and fat soluble. All these vitamins that you can get in the organ meats are going to really complete your diet because you can get every single mineral, every single vitamin, every single nutrient that you need by eating a full animal, like just be on the carnivore diet. And you can have dairy. Some people do, some people don't do that. It depends on your body. And you can have eggs. Yeah, no, you can't have any pasta or rice on the keto diet. 0. You can't have any grains at all. 0. No grains, no carbs, no food carb, no carb foods other than like a quarter cup of blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries per day. Count those carbs, add them up, see what they are. It's a very small amount. No other fruit because they're too high on the glycemic index. They'll raise your blood sugar too much and kick you out of ketosis. The whole goal on keto is to maintain ketones. So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to buy a Keto Mojo, prick your finger to test. It's like comes with a strip. You test. You take that little drop of blood. You stick it into the machine. It's going to register your glucose and your ketones, and you want to be in a state of ketosis. It'll have a little sheet inside that tells you what numbers you want to look at for being in ketosis. You can't have any grains, no foods that are carbs at all, no sugars. Like I said, just a teeny little bit of blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries are only allowed for fruit on keto, and the other carbs come from vegetables, nuts, cheese, and vegetables, nuts, avocados, lemons. Those things have carbs. So you're only eating high fat. What kind of fat? 80%. You should be having 80% of your calories from fat. So that's going to be butter, olive oil, coconut oil, the healthy fats only. No seed oils, no other plant oils, only coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, butter, ghee, animal fat from dairy, no yogurt. It is too high in sugar. No milk. You're only going to have heavy whipping cream if you do cream, and butter for dairy or cheese. Cheese has carbs. Dairy has carbs. So fat, so the animal foods, the nuts, the oils that are healthy, that's about it. Avocados, 80% of your calories from fat, 75. And then once you're fat adapted after several weeks or months, you can lower your fat a little bit, but not that much, and you want to maintain your protein 15 or 20% to get enough protein. It's not low protein and it's not high. If you eat too much protein, you can create what's called gluconeogenesis, which means that you're creating, your body is producing glucose from endogenously. So that means within the body. So basically, if you eat protein, doesn't have glucose, doesn't have sugar or carbs in it. But if you overdo it, the body's going to create glucose from the protein. It's called gluconeogenesis. And that can raise your insulin. So you don't want to overdo anything. You don't want to overdo protein. More questions? Who else has questions? Who wants to know about carnivore diet? That was so weird to me when I first heard about it. I was like, why would anybody only eat steak and for the rest of their life? And how could they say goodbye to salad? Because I love salad and vegetables. And I thought it was like very extreme and boring. But there was something drawing me to these carnivore videos, and I kept just watching them every day, watching carnivore videos, and something inside of me was like, you should try it. And I thought about it, and then I was like, oh no, I could never do that. And then, so I couldn't really do it. But then one day it just kind of, I feel like my soul told me, it just kind of descended upon me, like, do it. And I was like, 100%, I'm doing this. So that's when I started on September 1st. Not being perfect. I was having I'd cook for my son, and I make really good vegetables, and I'd be like, oh, this asparagus is so delicious. So I'd have a little bit of that, or I'd make, so I don't know what else I had, like little bites of vegetables here and there. I had a friend over for lunch, and because I'm not going to be like, here's a meat, that's all we're having. So I had salad with that and berries, on the side. She likes to do low carb, so that amount of food was fine for her. But I ended up eating salad and berries. Anyway, that's just a snippet of the first 3 weeks. I was having little vegetables, little fruit, and then so I was like 95% carnivore. And then on September 21st, I decided to just go full on 100% carnivore, and I lasted 4 days before cheating. What did I have? I can't even remember what I ate. I know my cheats are tiny, tiny little, probably had like a square of dark chocolate or something. And I was like, "Oh, darn, I didn't do 100%." But it's okay. You don't have to be that strict with yourself. You just do what your body is telling you to do. And so, no, I did. I cheated for 2 days. I can't remember what I had. Oh, yeah. I kinda cheated badly, but whatever. It was, oh, man. When was that? I had something once. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, during my first 3 weeks of carnivore, it was probably like 2 weeks into it, I decided to test my actual digestive system to see what was going on, like, if I ate something that normally I would have eaten before, a little bit of maybe before keto, and to see how my stomach did. Anyway, because I don't really have stomach issues, but when you're just doing carnivore, your microbiome changes. And I was curious, like, can my body digest? Anyway, I ended up making homemade gluten-free pancakes. And I had a couple with maple syrup. Yeah, I know it's like way, way cheating, but I was doing it on purpose to test my body's reaction. I was curious about what was going on with my body doing carnivore, and then what would happen if I did something different. So I had a little maple syrup on there, butter, and blueberries. Oh my God. I was like kind of half awake all night. What's happening here? Okay, it seems to be back. So sick to my stomach. It was terrible. And then for 2 days, I had a stomach ache. So I learned what I was trying to find out, which is you can't eat those. Those are like grains, I had like a bag of mixed grains that's gluten-free pancake mix or baking mix or whatever, but I can't do that. Um, oh yeah. Is keto and probiotic sources compatible? Yes. You can definitely take probiotics while you're on the keto diet. You even like I would even eat like 1 spoon of yogurt for probiotics, even though that has carbs. It's so low, just having 1 spoon. But yes, you can take probiotics. There's no interference with being on keto and taking probiotics. It's totally a good idea if you feel that your body needs probiotics. Now, on carnivore, I've never heard anybody talk about taking probiotics. Let me have a sip. I'm having bone broth. Mm. I put salt and butter in my bone broth. It's delicious. Um, it's making my lips shiny because butter. Just do a little pat here. Keto and probiotics. Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, any other questions? There are a few people watching, but some of them are shy. They're not asking questions. But I can talk about stuff. You can use mental telepathy. What do they want to know about? They want to know about why would a person do a carnivore diet and get rid of plants? Watch Paul Saladino on YouTube to find out more. Oh my God, watch the interview on Joe Rogan with Michaela Peterson. She's Jordan Peterson's daughter. She gives a great interview on there about her journey and why plants can be problematic. And let me talk about that. So plants can be problematic because plants don't want to be eaten. Now, we can say that about animals too, but animals can run away. That's their defense mechanism, or attack, right? Run or attack. Plants can't do that. So from within themselves, they have to create toxins to ward off pests and animals, any kind of predator. Well, when we eat them, we're eating their toxins. Like when you bite into broccoli, it's actually releasing a toxin. Now, it's better to cook it. Don't eat raw broccoli because it's a goitrogen, which means that it's going to cause the thyroid issue if you eat too many cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are goitrogens, And so you want to cook them always to reduce that goitrogenic activity, which is going to slow down the thyroid. So that's one kind of issue with plants. But other issues with plants, we've got phytic acid, and I'll talk about all of these, but I'll list them first. Phytic acid, oxalates, lectins, salicylic acid, protease inhibitors. I'm sure there are more. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, this is a video about carnivore and keto. But so anyway, that's a great question, Jamie. I want to come back to that in a second. So people look up, start looking into the anti-nutrients of vegetables and the phytotoxins. It's so interesting. So when we eat them, we're getting those toxins. Now, a small amount of toxins is okay because it creates hormesis. Hormesis is a stressor to the body from toxins or other causes, any kind of stress, which causes our body to react and adapt and get stronger. So we want to introduce small amounts of abuse to our body, like exercise, like cold and hot therapy, like sauna or ice, or, that's hydrotherapy, or like plant toxins. But not everybody wants to do that. People who've gone carnivore have eliminated plants, but you can have a little bit to create that hormetic activity, which is creating a slight toxic, introducing a little bit of toxin to then create a stress response, which then makes you stronger. But if you overdo it, then you're really breaking down the body. And if anybody has more questions about plant toxins, I'll be very happy to go into more detail, because I know a lot more than just that. I know about all, oxalates. I really want to talk about this too. It's important to know about the oxalates, phytic acid, lectins, things like that. But I love your question. Wouldn't a carnivore diet sort of lower your vibrations? I love this question. I've heard that a vegan is the best for spiritual purposes. I made a video about that. It's on my channel. It's called What Should Humans Eat? And, eating meat, spirituality, vegan diet. That's the title. So you'll go back, you'll find that video, you'll watch. It's pretty long. I go into my history of my education and career in nutrition and my journey with food, and I'm sorry, get distracted reading, and this whole notion about spirituality. But I'll answer it here too. It's total hogwash. It is the absolute biggest psyop. Psyop is a psychological operation. Basically, it's been created by the CIA to put forth this kind of new age BS, because basically a vegan diet is going to make everybody sick. I don't care what people say. Some people respond really well in the beginning to a vegan diet and they feel great. That's because it's an elimination diet. It's a detoxification diet. Ultimately, it's a starvation diet if you stay on it. And eventually your body will break down and you'll need the animal foods. And some people do really well on it for a long time and feel really good on it. But a lot of these people who are vegans, long-term vegans, cheat. And so they can't really assess how well the vegan diet is. I watched a video with this guy who went to some of these really big name vegan retreats in the world, who had like vegan centers and healing centers and stuff, and they're all over the internet. And they privately told him, like, they cheat. I eat this, I eat that. So you can't say the vegan diet is healthy when these people aren't doing a pure vegan diet. Now, humanity has always been animal-based in terms of what they've eaten throughout the history. For millions of years, since the creation of humanity, we have always only ever been animal-based with a few plants. Now, the introduction of veganism is recent, within the past few decades. It never existed before. It literally never existed before. It's been introduced to weaken humanity, to make them weak, make them brainwashed, not use their mind. And I'll tell you why. Your brain needs essential fatty acids that only come from animal foods. All the nutrients you need all the essential nutrients come from animal foods, and you literally can't get them from plants. You literally cannot get your essential nutrients from plants. This is period. It's a fact. You need omega-3 fatty acids. You need a lot. Well, I could go on. You cannot convert the protein that you need in your body from plants. You cannot convert the fats that your body needs from plants. Certain ones, yeah, sure. Mono, unsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats from avocados and olive oil. Fine, those are okay, but they're not going to they don't have the essential nutrients, essential fatty acids that are only in plant foods. So no, it's going to raise your vibration to eat the way that humanity is meant to eat, and it's going to lower your vibration if you go on a plant-based diet. If animals can convert nutrients from plants, why can't humans? That's such a great question. Watch Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride on YouTube. She has some more recent, within the past year or two or three, going in depth about the ruminants and other mammals or animals' stomachs, digestive tracts. Like a cow has 4 stomachs and they don't digest plants. There are microbes inside there that digest them for them. They have a completely different digestive tract than humans. Humans don't have the same digestive system as animals. And yes, animals can convert nutrients from plants, and then we eat the animals to get those nutrients. The way that, so basically the sun energy comes in, the sun energy is absorbed through photosynthesis into the plants, and then the animals eat that sun food from the plants into them, and then we eat that food. That's how we receive the nutrients, and that's how it's meant to be. That is how we are supposed to, and we do, get our food and our nutrients. This diet, yes, has this diet made you feel happier? So much so. Like, everybody says the same thing, keto, but then you're welcome. Yeah, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, and she does a great interview on on Primal Edge Health. Go to the channel. This is for you, Michael, and everybody. Primal Edge Health, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. It is one of the best videos on nutrition and this topic out there. Has this diet made you feel happier? Yes, like exceedingly so. Happier than I've ever been in my life. And it's a consistent happy. It's like elation, joy, gratitude like I've never felt. Gratitude in every single moment of every single day. And no down moods, no down energy. I've gotten tired a couple times. Like, I'm 48, everybody. I've taken a nap I ended up taking a nap the other day. But so, the people, okay, this is so interesting, especially if you check out Joe Rogan's interview with Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson. I haven't watched his yet, but they had severe depression. And by going carnivore, the depression lifted within days. And I didn't have depression. I might have had a bit of I had a bit of low energy. And it wasn't mood related. It was totally energy related, energetic. And why do I not have low energy anymore? The food. It's incredible. Yes, I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. Starting with keto, then going to carnivore, significant improvement. And so other people are saying the same thing. Like, people are like, well, I don't have to lose weight, but I'm doing this for mood benefits. Like 100% of people get happier on these diets, especially carnivore, happier, less anxiety, less panic. It's incredible. I'm in groups one keto group with over 260,000 people. So I read all the comments, not all of them, but you know what I mean, a lot of them. And then groups with tens of thousands in different carnivore groups. And across the board, this is true. Better mood. It's amazing. It's incredible. And you know why? because you're finally feeding your brain and your hormonal system what it needs. We are so depleted. The reason we have anxiety, depression, low energy, attention deficit, different mood disorders is because of the lack of nutrients. When you start to eat the fat that your body really needs, it goes to your brain. Every single cell in your body needs fat. Every single cell in your body is surrounded by fat. Your brain is mostly fat, like 80%, I think, fat. If you start to feed your body fat, healthy fat, and I'll repeat this because some of you might have not been here in the beginning, you got to cut out all vegetable oils and seed oils. The only fats you want are going to be olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, butter, ghee, animal fats. That's it. No other fats other than like a few nuts, which are not good to have too many nuts because phytic acid is in nuts, and phytic acid binds to and depletes the minerals from your body. You really don't want to and seeds, the same thing. Phytic acid is in seeds and nuts. Really, really, really minimize them and never eat them raw. Never eat any nuts or seeds raw. They have high levels of phytic acid and you will deplete your minerals, your bones, your teeth. It will be your calcium, all the minerals you want to have soaked. I'm talking about nuts and seeds, soaked, sprouted, and roasted. In the book Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon, she talks about the traditional way of cooking nuts and seeds, preparing them. This is Weston A. Price studied indigenous populations around the world, the healthiest ones, and compiled the commonalities of their diets. And from his research in the late 1800s, early 1900s, she created a cookbook based on these traditional methods. It's called Nourishing Traditions. And basically, she teaches you how to soak your nuts overnight, put them in a dehydrator for 24 hours or 12 hours, whatever it is, I forget, but because I have one and I've done it at 125 degrees, it's going to deplete the nuts, remove the phytic acid from the nuts, or you can put it in the oven at 125 for 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours. But I like doing it in the dehydrator better because then you don't have your oven on all that time. So when you're buying nuts at the store, you're going to get the roasted nuts. Don't get raw nuts or seeds ever, ever. They're so bad for you. You can't even digest them. They're going to kill your stomach. And you don't want to destroy your gut lining because then you're going to get leaky gut, which is permeable gut, and basically toxins can seep through, which is the cause of autoimmune disorders. So we really all want to be about healing the gut, doing the least amount of damage to the digestive system so that we can start absorbing our food properly and reduce inflammatory conditions. Any other questions? Don't believe anybody if they say that eating meat is going to lower your vibration. Don't believe anybody if they say that that eating a plant-based, vegan, fruitarian diet is the best for raising your vibration and it's spiritual. It is absolutely not. Those people are completely brainwashed. Totally brainwashed. It's a starvation diet. Almost all vegans actually end up going back to animal foods. And you know what? A huge percentage of people in the carnivore community are ex-vegans. They're eating just animals now because they learned the truth. It is the truth because once I started eating this way, more animal-based, I literally felt like I was coming home to myself. I had a spiritual experience. It's in my video called Keto Update. I think it's like number 3 video, Carnivore Diet. Surprise. That's what it's called. So you'll find it on my channel. I just made it a couple weeks ago. Basically, I literally had a spiritual experience for several days when I started the carnivore diet. And I felt closer to my soul than I've ever felt in my whole entire life. I felt more home within myself. I felt more me than I'd ever felt. It's weird to say these things and it's hard to describe, but it was incredible. And I felt more connected to our ancestors, like all ancestors of humanity. I felt more connected to the earth. I felt more connected to the animals. I felt one with the animals, and I had such reverence and gratitude. It was I never expected to feel these things. I never thought that was going to happen, and it did, and it was profound. And I actually posted that as a comment or a post in one of my carnivore groups, like, this is this experience that I've been having since I started, and all these other people chimed in and said, "Oh my God, me too, me too, me too." And some of them were like, "I didn't know, I couldn't put it to words, but now that you've put it to words, yes, that's exactly what happened to me too." People do the carnivore diet to lose weight, and I've been losing weight. I lost weight on the keto and then carnivore a little bit. Yes, I mean significantly. Like, my body composition is changing. But another question just came in: do you eat meat? All meat, or just a few? That's a great question. I'm going to talk about the food that I eat. I'm very open with it. So some people are like, "Oh, I just eat beef, salt, and water." That's because that's what their body does best with that. I eat steak. I love ribeye. I love Delmonico steak. I eat ground beef. I put a lot of butter in my ground beef and cook it with that, and eat all the fat that's rendered out of the ground beef with the butter, mix it all up. I even sometimes grate like shredded cheese on top of that. So it's high fat. On the carnivore diet, you really want to aim for about 80% fat, because if you overdo the protein, you can cause gluconeogenesis, which I talked about earlier in the video, which causes your body to create glucose, and then your insulin can rise. And also, it's just not good there's something called the rabbit starvation diet. This was documented in the early 1900s, where I forget if it was World War I or what it was, but like, these people only had access to lean protein, lean meat, and they got starvation and rickets, no, scurvy, I don't know. And yeah, so, but if you keep your fat up high, you're going to get all the nutrients, and you're not going to you don't want to have too much lean protein. You want to have a really high percentage of fat with your protein, because that's what the body actually needs. And on that note, it's really interesting, because in the wild, animals who are predators, who kill their prey, they'll kill the animal, and they'll just like eat the liver and go. And then they've studied humans too, who are more carnivorous, different indigenous populations around the world, who will hunt the animal and take the liver, eat it, and go, and leave all the meat. Or they'll take all the organs, or they'll take fat, and they'll leave the lean protein meat, the muscle meat that we eat, which is the steak part. So both animals and humans do that. They'll leave the lean protein, the muscle meat of the animal, and eat the organs and the fat. So that's where the real nutrients is. That's where the real stuff that we need is. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I eat, because that question has been asked. I don't really eat eggs, because I was eating eggs in the beginning, but I'm sensitive to eggs, so I'm not eating eggs anymore. I did buy quail eggs recently, and I ate the quail eggs just to test. They're so delicious. They were so delicious. I boiled them, hard boiled, and I felt okay. They were so good, and I just wanted to experiment with my body. I buy my food from a farm. There's a local farm. Well, it's in Pennsylvania. I'm in Virginia. It's just like, above Virginia. And I'm like right outside of Washington, D.C. That's where I live. Anyway, this farm delivers to my area, and I can put in an order every week. So I ordered, I had ordered duck eggs from there too. Those made me so sick. And it's not true for everybody. I'm just super sensitive to chicken or hen eggs and duck eggs, especially duck eggs. But so I buy my food from a farm. It's organic, grass-fed, grass-finished, totally clean. Same with the dairy, and I'll talk about that too. But so steak, I was talking about what I eat. Steak, ground beef. I've been eating dairy, which I'm going to test cutting it out a little bit. Let's do an experiment with it. But I've been eating raw cheese. I've been eating something new. So you were asking about meat. Let me just go into the meat stuff. Lamb. I just had ground beef, ground elk. And I think that my body didn't really like it. I thought it was delicious. It tasted like beef, but I didn't feel well from eating it, so I'm not gonna try that again. I was just experimenting. I bought that one not from my farm, but from US Wellness Meats. So if you don't have a farm where you can get grass-fed, grass-finished beef or meat or raw dairy or whatever, you can go to uswellnessmeats.com. It's actually grassland beef, but you just Google it, it'll show up US Wellness Meats. I get liverwurst from there because in the liverwurst that they make, it's beef, heart, kidney, brain, and I want the organ meats. I'm probably gonna just start making my own someday because they have spices and I don't like this. I mean, I like it, but after going carnivore, anytime I eat something that's not an animal-based food, like a carnivore food, I'm getting like sores in my mouth. So like I don't even want the spices right now. I'll probably start reintroducing some foods just to not be so sensitive because I'm super sensitive to any non-carnivore food right now. But the point is, US Wellness Meats has that liverwurst, so it has the organ meats, in it, and it's important to get the organ meats. I don't like eating organ meats. I'm gonna order them from the farm and try to make like liver pate or my own liverwurst or different things where I'm actually incorporating the organ meats into food where I can't really taste it as if I'm eating it just directly. So organ meats, lamb, beef, salmon. I eat salmon roe. So I buy these jars of salmon roe from a place called Vital Choice. It's an online store, Vital Choice, and I get the salmon roe from there because if you have like a spoon of that, it's going to give you your omega-3 fatty acids. That's why I do it. It's very healthy. If you don't like it, that's fine. You're probably going to get your omega-3 fatty acids you can get them from egg yolks and some fatty beef. Okay. The dairy that I've been having, I order it from the farm. I never used to do this before carnivore, but I decided to just test out some dairy. Like, I can't do any cow milk. I don't do any cow milk or cream. So I ordered raw sheep milk, raw water buffalo milk, and goat milk, and goat cream, and goat and sheep yogurt, and water buffalo cheese, like any combination of different dairy from these animals, and my body responds very well. I do not have any problems, so that I notice. But the thing about it is that I'm not like losing weight very fast on carnivore. And so people say if you're having dairy and you're not losing weight, cut dairy out. It's very inflammatory, or it can be for some people. It can cause you to not lose weight. So after I'm finished with the dairy that I have, I'm probably going to do a test and just cut it out and see what happens. Everything here is just experimentation, seeing how I feel. You cannot have any cooked beans on keto. No legumes, no beans. You can have like a teeny couple scoops of hummus, for example. Chickpeas are a legume, but you're not going to have a lot, like teeny, less like a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, because legumes and beans are high in carbs and lectins. Lectins are plant toxins, and they're not good for you. You're welcome. So I eat seafood, octopus. I don't like shrimp, doesn't feel good to my body. Scallops, lobster, oysters. So some people are very limited. They're like, oh, I'm just eating meat. I'm including all these animal foods. Yeah, what else? But you can eat eggs on it. You can eat anything that comes from an animal. Meat, all meats, seafood, all seafoods, fish. butter, dairy, eggs, all plant foods. Some people, there are no rules to that, to carnivore, but some people don't. They eliminate certain of those categories because they're not good for their body. What else? Other questions? So I'll tell you who to watch. For keto people, for just keto, you can watch Dr. Berg, Thomas DeLauer. Who else? So many. And I can't think of them right now. I like those too. But because like my mind frame is now so carnivore, but so carnivore, you can watch Dr. Paul Saladino, Sean Baker, Frank Tufano, um, High Intensity Health. There are so many. You can just go on YouTube, put in carnivore diet. You're going to find a lot of people making videos. Oh my God, you guys, one of the best videos I've ever seen is with Joe Rogan's interview with Nina Teicholz, Teicholtz, Nina Teicholz. She's the author of The Big Fat Surprise. That interview on the Joe Rogan channel with Nina Teicholz was one of the best nutritionally informative videos. So that was a really good one. Any other questions? It's kind of fun that that I've been making videos about twin flames and spirituality for years. And then now I'm talking about nutrition and diet, and that I have some people who are interested. It's not a lot, but that's okay. Because it's just fun to be able to share in this way with some people who watch me for other reasons too. And then maybe there are some new people who saw my keto or carnivore diet videos and joined in because that's what they like, but those are very few compared to the other. Interestingly enough, my twin flame was doing keto before I was, and he told me about it. I mean, he didn't go, I already knew about it. He didn't tell me about it deeply. He just said he was doing it. And I never knew I was going to start doing it. But then several months later, spontaneously, I started doing it, not having anything to do with him. But what happened was I woke up one morning and my friend had posted something about she's getting back on the keto diet, and it was like a soul thing, said, "You're starting keto today." And I had not had pre-thought about it. I never had considered it before. It was like this spontaneous thing. It was so right, 100% right. I was like, I'm doing it. Just like what happened with carnivore. Even though carnivore, I kind of thought about it a little and I was like, oh no, I can't do it. But then that day, it was like, I'm doing it. Same thing happened. So it wasn't like I had to think about these things or debate like, oh, I should, or want to lose weight or whatever. It wasn't like that. It was like this soul, my higher self was like, do it. And I was like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm not wavering. I'm on board 100%. That's why it's been so easy for me, because there's no struggle. I wasn't addicted to anything, carbs, sugar, nothing. So a lot of people go through a transition where it's like really hard. Nothing has been hard for me. And nothing has been a struggle for me. Did I crave chocolate, a couple of days ago? Yeah, I don't know why, but I had a piece, but it's okay, because one piece of chocolate is not gonna do anything that bad, and it doesn't make me have more or think like, oh, I ruined it and now I'm gonna eat donuts. I'm not like that. I don't have those kinds of struggles at all. So I just like, okay, I'll have a piece of chocolate. It's fine. It's like, 0.1% of something off keto or carnivore, that, it's okay. We can live our lives. We can have everything in balance. Not everything. Some people can't do that, but you have to know yourself and what you can do. Nothing really ever took any willpower for me. This feels natural to me. Any other questions? I love the questions. You guys ask great questions. What else do you want to know? Should I talk about the plant toxins so you know? Let's talk about oxalates for a minute. If you watch Sally K. Norton, please look her up on um Elliot, what's his name? I don't remember right now. Sally Norton. Who did she was on Primal, no. She was on, yeah, Primal Edge Health, and she was on, it doesn't matter. You'll just look her up on YouTube. Sally K. Norton, oxalates. And those are plant toxins in spinach. I couldn't eat spinach. If I ate any spinach, I would get this really uncomfortable, dry feeling in my mouth and my teeth. That was the most uncomfortable feeling. And I was like, I can never eat spinach because it's horrific in my mouth. And then it happened with Swiss chard more recently when I was doing keto. I had a bowl of it, and the same dry teeth feeling happened. I was like, I'm never eating Swiss chard again. So this is what oxalates do. Oxalates are these tiny crystals in plant foods. And when you look at them under a microscope, you see the sharp chards. They are crystal formations. They're in almonds, spinach, rhubarb, certain legumes, a lot of other vegetables, and what else? Just look up high oxalate foods. You'll find a list on the internet. Avoid those foods or have very little. Dark chocolate has oxalates. So what happens is that these oxalic crystals will start to lodge. They're toxic for all humans. It's not like a sensitivity thing. It's a toxin, and it's always a toxin. Nobody's more sensitive or less. I mean, some people can have a buildup of these oxalic crystals in places with more inflammation, so they will be affected by them more because they already had more inflammation, and they tend to gravitate toward inflamed places, causing pain and causing issues in the body. But they're toxic for everybody. So we have no way to digest them or eliminate them. We can have those foods with calcium, like dairy products, which bind the oxalates to help them not be as absorbed into the body. But basically, these oxalates are these crystals that are lodged into the tissues of the body because we don't have an elimination process. We don't have a way to break them down. So they just keep getting stuck in all of our tissues. When we go on a low oxalate diet, we are actually giving our body a chance to say, oh, like no more oxalates are coming in. We can start to release them from the body. So then it's called oxalate dumping. What happens is your body starts to push these oxalates out of the tissues and out of the body. People can start to get like these crystals in their eyes that feels very sandy and painful in their eyelids. People can start to be very itchy. There are a lot of oxalate dumping symptoms. And so when you go from keto, where you might be eating high oxalates, people, even, and vegans especially, are having high oxalates because they're having their spinach smoothies, celery juice. People are on that kick. That's high oxalate. Almonds. All of a sudden, you start cooking with almond flour when you're on keto, right? Because you're avoiding all grains, all starches, but you want to make some keto desserts and you use almond flour. You're ingesting so many oxalates and phytic acid. Very bad in that. And so you're building up all these oxalates. If you switch from keto to carnivore, you're suddenly dropping to no oxalates. This means that you can have oxalate dumping. So you want to be very careful when you go very low oxalate. You actually want to reintroduce small quantities of food that are high in oxalic acid. Oxalates and oxalic acid are the same thing. You use those terms interchangeably. So you want to reintroduce very small quantities, 100 to 150 milligrams of oxalates, while you're going through the dumping. Because if you're dumping, some people feel like they're going to die. They go to the ER. It's a serious thing. it's really dangerous. I mean, if you have to do it too quickly. So like that's why for me, if I have like a teeny little piece of chocolate, because I was eating dark chocolate all the time before, so I was eating high oxalates. I don't know about high, but avocados have them. Almond, yeah, so it's probably a little bit high. Um, I've been going for an hour. I didn't realize I've been talking that long, but so if I have like a little piece of chocolate, it's kind of on purpose because if I'm feeling like the oxalate dumping, you want to mitigate that by introducing like I said, a very small quantity of food that's high in oxalate during the dumping process, and it can take years. Um, it does take years actually to let your body get rid of them. Um, Oh, no. So I'm thinking of doing this diet, but my parents are so into vegan as they think meat is bad, but I think this is a better option. You wouldn't have known about it if you hadn't seen my videos. That's so good. So let's talk about that. Oh no, almonds are not good for losing weight. Not at all, not at all, not at all. No nuts are. Nuts are high carb, high phytic acid, even some lectins, oxalates. Oh my gosh, nuts are some of the worst foods for humans. Okay. If you want to have nuts, do it the Nourishing Traditions way, where you're soaking them overnight and you're doing them at the low temperature, 125 degrees in the oven for 12 to 24 hours, or in your dehydrator for 12 to 24 hours, to break those plant toxins down so that they're more easily digestible. But they won't help you lose weight at all. What will help you lose weight is going low carb, period. That you'll lose, and intermittent fasting. Though, if anybody wants to lose weight and you want to do the easiest thing possible, you go low carb and you go do intermittent fasting. That's it. About okay, doing this, and your parents are into vegan. It's so difficult to deal with vegans because they're brainwashed and they think their way is best until they start to feel, even if they have health issues, they don't believe it's the vegan diet. They think, let me do it better. Let me go raw. I did it. I was a vegan for 2 months. I know that mindset because I was in that mindset for like temporarily while I was testing it out. I was like, okay, well, I'll be brainwashed too, just to try this out. And I'm kind of joking around, but I was brainwashed for a very short period of time until the day that I craved meat. My meat craving story is in that video that is titled What Should Humans Eat? So I talk very much about my journey with that. There is a channel, I don't think your parents will probably watch it, but I mean, maybe they'll, if you watch a couple of these videos that are really good, they would, I don't know, watch them with you. But there's a channel called, I don't know how, I don't know his name, Syringe, SVRI3GE. It's a weird SVRI3GE. Think you would find it. That's what the channel is called. But this guy, I think he's like a psychopath. But he has videos which are ex-vegans telling their story, and in those videos, he doesn't talk. He just says, "Tell your story," and he asks a question at the end. What do you think the future of veganism is? So it's not an interview where he's talking a lot, but these people have amazing, amazing testimonies. He interviews, I mean, any ex-vegan who wants to go emails him to say, I want to tell my story. And then I watched probably like 20 of those, or maybe 15. I was obsessed for a while with these people's stories of ex-vegans. There are some excellent ones. There is a couple who went on his channel to tell their story. They were vegans for like 40 years. They wrote books, multiple books on the vegan diet. And they are carnivores now. And I really hope your parents wake up. I think that you can do it. Start doing it quietly. Start having like eggs, or do it quietly, and then results will show. Meaning, if you're happier, if your health gets better, like you should point them into the directions of, like, I don't know what would help them. Yeah, it's just hard to break through that mental barrier with vegans. So hard. Yeah, it's a rough one because our essential nutrients come from animal foods. They don't come from plants, but they think they're all vegans have just like these lines that they repeat that are not based in science. They say we can get our protein from plants. Not true. We can get our fats. We don't need fat. Not true. We can get our fats from plants. Not true. We don't need we shouldn't be killing animals. There are a lot of reasons that they are vegan, and none of them are true. None of them are right. It's like it's literally a brainwashing thing. Um, there are people who are in like say talk about the acid alkaline balance, and like meat is acidic. Yeah, but like there you can't affect your blood alkalinity with food. Your body has a very extremely tight regulatory system to maintain pH in the blood. No food you eat can change that. Your stomach is highly acidic, meant to digest meat. So, I think that's it. It's like, well, it's 12:30 my time. Unless anybody has any more questions right now, I'll just wait a second and see if there are any more questions. Otherwise, I will be saying goodbye soon. And, let me know if you want to do more of these, if you want me to do more lives about this topic or other topics. Another thing I'm going to do a live video, live streaming about is going to be um, like a spiritual question and answer, spirituality and wisdom, because I have a lot of experience in that. That's my other area of interest in this life. And I'll open that up to just general questions. I will definitely keep doing Twin Flame live streams because that was so much fun the other day. And I'm going to keep doing those regularly. I loved it. And if this one, if there's interest in this topic, I'll do more too. And if anybody wants to get started on keto or carnivore, I do offer sessions, keto coaching. It's on my website on the store page. Is it on my scheduler? I'm not sure. But anyway, you can go to stephaniecraft.com and look at my website, and that you can have a little 25-minute session with me or 50-minute session. We can talk about your case individually and help you as you go and help formulate, your program and how your fasting, if you're doing intermittent fasting or longer fasts, or what you're eating, and fine tune things and tweak things along the way if you want to have like follow up, So I'm definitely available for that as well. I will definitely keep doing these. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I know it wasn't like a ton of people, but that's fine. I'm here to help anybody, even just one person who wants information or help. I'm here. So thanks for joining me today, and many blessings to everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you again soon.